Welcome to Sales Zen and harnessing intuition for sales success. Today's topic is mindset. In future topics, we're going to talk about strategy and tactics, but it all starts with mindset. I've spent 30 years in B2B sales, specifically in advertising. I've sold hundreds of millions of dollars of ad revenue, working with small businesses all the way up to large corporate giants like Nike, Ford, and Levi's. Now you're probably thinking, another sales guru, another sales system. The truth is, there's a ton out there, but they mostly lack the one thing that you need to unlock, which is your intuition. They focus on rigid scripts and turning salespeople into robots. Today's buyers are different. They're informed. They likely know your product or service or your competitive advantage before you even outreach to them. This course isn't about memorizing lines. It's about tapping into your inner wisdom, reading the room, and connecting with your clients authentically. We'll explore how top performers leverage their intuition to build trust, navigate challenges, and close deals. I'm here to unlock the power of your intuition and help you become top-performing B2B sales professional. In this course, we're going to explore 11 key mindset principles to drive sales success. I'll make them easy to understand, I'll break them down, and I've included 3 impactful actions that you can take related to each topic. I encourage you to take notes, think about the actions listed, and implement them into your day-to-day as a B2B seller. Ready to unlock your intuition and find your sales zen? Let's dive in. Failure is part of the job. The sooner you recognize that, the more successful you will be. So if we fail more than we succeed, why is failure looked at negatively? It's likely due to corporate culture. I've worked for a number of different leaders in my career. The best ones worked with me to understand why I didn't close a specific deal and help me to do better next time. On the other side, many in leadership positions make sellers feel guilty if they didn't win every single deal that they worked on. What did you close today? That was something I've heard throughout my career. In no way is that helpful or motivating, especially if you lost more than you won recently. I had a rep on my team who would struggle for days if a deal didn't go the way he wanted. He blamed the client, the product, cross-functional partners, me, anyone else he could think of. It derailed any momentum he had and sent him into a failure spiral. So what do top sellers do when it comes to failure? First, and most importantly, top sellers shift their mindset from close-loss deals being a negative thing and instead view them as part of the job and an opportunity to learn. They take the time to analyze what went wrong. The reality is, more times than not, nothing went wrong. It just wasn't the right fit at the right time. But looking inward will allow you to escape negative thoughts and grow from the experience. So as you approach your next sales cycle, do everything you can to provide the right solution and stay positive. You are only one failure away from your next success. But before you can succeed or fail, you need to understand your motivation. So what motivates you? The truth is, understanding your why will open doors for you. It allows you to be authentic and genuine to yourself and resonates to those around you. When my son was in 6th grade, he was assigned extra credit for a science class. The assignment was to go for a hike and observe specific things he saw in nature. Unfortunately, it was a rainy weekend, so getting outside wasn't as easy or enjoyable as it could have been. I assumed he would just skip it and stay inside. I saw him getting geared up and I asked why he was still going out with all the rain. He said, "Dad, I'm close to getting an A, and this will help." At that moment, it all made sense. His motivation was to get an A, and no rainy day was going to stop him. If he wasn't mindful of his why, I'm guessing he would have just stayed inside and not gotten the extra credit. For the record, he did get an A in science, and he had a blast hiking in the rain. Look, sales moves fast. It's why most people enjoy the work. Every day is different, and it keeps us on our toes. The downside is we rarely get a chance to come up for air and think about why we are doing what we are doing. What is driving us? What keeps us coming back day after day, year after year? Taking a break and thinking about what is driving you reminds you of your passions and reduces stress and fuels sales success. Look, there's no right answer to this question. Motivation can be extrinsic, like money, status, and acknowledgement. It can also be intrinsic, like personal growth, helping clients reach their goals, and helping unlock creativity. Top sellers spend time thinking about what drains them and what gives them energy and strength. Through this mindfulness, they see increased performance, enhanced resilience, career advancement, and a more positive mindset. What motivated you years, months, or even weeks ago may have changed. So take the time to think about what motivates you. There is some irony in this topic. I've worked my entire career in sales. I actually started in college selling ads in my school newspaper and eventually became the sales manager. The irony is I've never been comfortable selling. Over the years, I've embraced my job and focused on client outcomes, which has helped me get more comfortable. But honestly, there is still some anxiety before a cold call or a client meeting. I realized with experience came wisdom. Earlier in my career, I was focused on acting like I'd been there before. I'm guessing I've never met anyone that knew how uncomfortable I actually was. I've heard the phrase, fake it till you make it. And while I don't know how much you can fake communication, I will say from my first client meeting to my first meeting with C-level execs to public speaking in front of hundreds of people, I embraced the fact that perfection wasn't attainable and made sure I was prepared to speak on my topic, product, and solution. Getting out of your comfort zone, especially in a high-stakes environment, is easier said than done. Top sellers focus on being prepared. Just like an athlete, they put the work in up front and know that will lead to success on game day. That preparation allows you to push yourself further than anyone thought you could, and maybe even more than you initially wanted. Earlier in my career, I was asked to speak in front of a large group of potential clients. It was the largest group I had been in front of, and it was essentially a 30-minute monologue about our product and value proposition. We were new to the market, so many in the audience came with skepticism and preconceived notions. I prioritized my preparation, which gave me confidence, and when I hooked up the mic and took the stage, I felt my heart racing. The self-doubt crept in, and I wasn't sure I could push through. As I took the stage and started the presentation, a calm came over me. Not only was I getting comfortable, I was starting to enjoy it. I was feeding off the energy in the room and the engagement by the audience. When we wrapped up, I had many people pull me aside and send follow-up emails, thanking me and telling me how much they enjoyed it and how much I'd changed their perception of what we were selling. Now, years later, I jump at any chance to speak in front of large groups. I still have some nerves, but the rush I get on stage makes all the pre-presentation anxiety worth it. So the next time you have a first-of-a-kind meeting, a meeting with top execs or a large group, don't pass the mic to your manager or peer or whoever else is in the room. Step outside of your comfort zone. Regardless of the outcome, you will have accomplished something new. And who knows, you might find your new why. Did you just close a big deal? Did you finally secure that meeting you've been pushing for? Did you just hit your quota? Give yourself a quick pat on the back, then move on to the next one. Your ability to ride the momentum of a win will carry you further than anything. I see so many salespeople and leaders take their foot off the gas after a win. If you jump right back in, you will be doing it with a positive mindset. Humans feed off of emotions. If you bring positivity to your next meeting or call, you will likely get positivity back. Even if your client is having a bad day or things don't go the way you planned, you aren't going to let them kill your positive momentum buzz. To the previous point about getting out of your comfort zone, you are more likely to push yourself after a positive experience. And while the recent win is fresh in your mind, take the time to analyze what went right. Push yourself to replicate your strengths as you focus on the next deal. Eventually, the momentum will fade until your next win, so remain mindful of what went right, how you felt, and hold on to that confidence as long as possible. Momentum is a powerful force in sales. Capitalize on your wins by channeling that positive energy into your next challenge. Momentum leads to confidence. Since the beginning of humankind, people have traded money for goods and services. Yet for some reason in sales, we put ourselves in a position of diminished authority to the buyer. And it starts with outreach. Phrases like, just following up, or this won't take long, or sorry to bug you, sets you up to chase the decision maker. If you are selling a product that addresses the customer's needs, has a strong product market fit, and adds value, you need to approach every communication with a client with confidence. They don't need to know that your last 4 deals dragged on and eventually moved to close lost. They don't need to know the amount of pressure you're under to hit your number and deliver against leadership's expectations. If you are feeling internal pressure, you need to separate it from the client and lead with confidence. Top reps have enough in pipeline that they have confidence to walk from any deal that isn't going the direction they originally intended. The final reason I see reps lack confidence is due to the product they are selling. Either they haven't done enough research to understand the true value for clients, or it has a weak product market fit. If you are facing the former, stop what you're doing and dig in on the product knowledge and a deep understanding of how your solution benefits your clients. If there isn't a strong market fit, it's a good signal to look for something else. That's not to say every product or company you work for needs to be a market leader, but if you aren't selling something you believe in, you will never have the confidence to be successful. Clients don't buy because you need to hit a number. They don't take the meeting because your manager gives you activity goals. I've seen so many sellers approach their business as if the client cares about a closed one in the CRM. I had a rep on my team send an email to a client who was moving slowly through the process. They said to the client, "I need an update so I can keep my manager updated and move my forecast if you aren't moving forward." You care about your goals. The client cares about the impact of the partnership and their business. I see so many reps scramble at the end of the month or quarter. They frantically send out emails and make calls. Anyone who even slightly engages becomes their next target. This approach doesn't work in B2B sales. It reeks of desperation. If you are in new biz sales, remember, the person you're reaching out to had a full calendar before you reached out. You are now asking them to prioritize you ahead of what they already had on their plate. When you are desperate, everyone you come in contact can sense it. It strips away your credibility as it becomes more about you and your goals and less about them and their goals. The best thing you can do is detach. If you take the approach of owning your business, you will be proactive in your work and always have enough deal flow that you won't need to panic. As you work on detaching from internal outcomes, you'll also get better at prioritizing. One of the biggest misses I see sellers is not prioritizing their business. Both internal and client requirements come fast and furious. Top sellers are able to prioritize their day, week, and ensure they're focused on impact. And as new things come up, you're forced to prioritize by recency, not by impact and deadlines. I've seen reps struggle to hit outreach metrics because a client request they didn't see coming comes in. They use that as an excuse at the end of the month on why they didn't accomplish even enough to hit the expectations of the job. Top sellers make a plan and stick to it. They know things will come up and they don't panic. Instead, they work new items into their current priorities. One of my least favorite business terms or titles in the corporate world is individual contributor. Sales gives you a level of autonomy and ownership. Collaboration with your team and cross-functional partners is critical to your individual success and to the team as a whole. One of my strengths as a sales leader is building a strong team. While each person is responsible for their own accounts and numbers, they lean in to support each other. If you want to sit on an island and only focus on your business, you are likely not a long-term top performer. I'm not saying everyone needs to aspire to work in leadership, but working well with others is critical to adjusting your mindset. Humans are wired to help other humans. Don't fight it, embrace it. When a question is posed in a team meeting or a Slack channel, lean in and help. Not only are you making the team stronger, it will put you in the right mindset as you look to solve your clients' needs. There will be a time when you need something, and if you've been a giver, you can bet people will jump at the chance to help you. I'm a pessimist by nature. My mind leads to negative thoughts and doubt. I work tirelessly to focus on positivity. Working in B2B sales is met with daily challenges that push my mind to negative thoughts. Did you hit your number, but you didn't cross the T that leadership wanted? Did you have a great meeting and then you got ghosted or told no? You just closed a deal and your manager rakes you over the coals about why it wasn't larger or immediately moves on to the next one in your pipeline? All of these things are part of the job. If you aren't mindful, we'll wear down even the most positive person. Sales is a game of failure. Top sellers acknowledge those things, then move on to focus on positive things happening. One positive event or thought will propel your mind to look for more positivity. Eventually, you will start seeing way more positive things than you originally acknowledged. The other thing about a negative mind versus a positive one, you may not realize it, but other people notice. I had a rep on my team that was a strong performer. His drawback was his negativity, especially around things out of his control. Even though I gave him feedback, he couldn't help himself. After so many negative comments and sentiment over time, it wore me and the rest of the team out. And even when he wasn't coming with negative vibes, it was easy to take what he said negatively. Ultimately, he sold himself short because he was difficult to work with and clients could tell. It starts with being mindful of your thoughts, labeling them and focusing on something positive. Or better yet, finding the positive side of something you initially thought was negative. How many no's do you hear every day, week, month? How many times have you thought you were set up for success only to find your org's go-to-market strategy plan was a mess and created more hurdles for you? Is there someone else that has all the good accounts or got the extra love from leadership, which is why you are not selling as much as they are? Guess what? It happens to everyone. The intangible that separates top sellers from those struggling is grit. You will be beaten down. You will have challenging days, maybe even months or years. Maybe you don't have what it takes to be successful in sales. Or maybe you just need to push the bullshit aside and get gritty. Having grit isn't about stepping on other people or breaking the rules. It's about digging deep and finding that push and that motivation that everyone has. No one can give you grit. You already have it. You need to stop complaining, stop comparing yourself to others, and stop being pushed to the point of doubt. Rise up, dig in, and find your grit. One of the reasons I've been in sales my entire career is as close to owning your business as anything. I've always viewed my base pay, benefits, and tools like a laptop and expense account as a trade-off to my company for being accountable for the non-sales activities like trainings, meetings, and giving my leadership what they need to do their jobs. On the other side of it, I view my accounts and my sales process as my own business. With this freedom comes responsibility. Not only taught me skills outside of sales like accounting, marketing, and operations, it also forced me to know every part of the business. I've worked with struggling reps who don't know their numbers, don't prioritize their day, and they don't have pride in owning their business. Sure, they may have to do some admin tasks for others, but they do them to the best of their ability, and they move on to owning their outreach, presentations, and account management. It amazes me how many people don't understand the why behind this topic. I've had people tell me, but I work for a company, it's all out of my control. Look, if you are being managed on how to do every part of your job, you need to find another one. Even entry-level sales jobs, you need some kind of autonomy to find your voice. A big phrase in corporate America is to be authentic. I guarantee if you are reading a script or following what someone else did, you will ultimately fail. You may need to start there, and I encourage everyone to share best practices and even shadow top performers. But ultimately, if you aren't taking ownership of your approach, you will not grow as a successful sales professional. So let's bring this all together. You've just been giving a lot of information, but it all boils down to this: finding your sales zen. There isn't some magic formula or secret handshake. It's about tapping into something you already have: your intuition, your drive, your authentic self. Think back to the key principles we covered today. Embrace failure. It's not a setback, it's a stepping stone. Learn from it, grow from it, and move forward. Know your why. What truly motivates you? Understand that and let it fuel your passion and resilience. Step outside your comfort zone. Growth happens when you challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to take risks and embrace new experiences. Ride the wave of momentum. Celebrate your wins, big and small, and use that energy to propel you to even greater success. Lead with confidence. Believe in yourself, believe in your product, and approach every interaction with conviction. Detach from outcomes. Focus on the processes, provide value, and trust that the results will follow. Prioritize with purpose. Be intentional with your time and energy. Focus on the activities that drive the most impact. Collaborate with your crew. Support your team, share knowledge, and rise together. Cultivate positivity. Choose optimism over negativity. It's contagious, and it will transform your interactions and your outlook. Develop grit. Sales is a marathon, not a sprint. Persevere through challenges, stay focused, and never give up. Own your business. Take responsibility, be proactive, and chart your own course. These principles, combined with your own natural intuition, will help you navigate the complexities of sales, build genuine connections with your clients, and achieve lasting success. So go out there, tap into your intuition and mindset, and become the sales professional you were always meant to be. The next course, we're going to talk about strategies to increase your sales performance. Now let's go crush it.